So my name is Alina de Vega, and I am here with Ashli Katz. We met my mom in her company, Sotheby's International Realty, does summits. And my mom, I think, is a visionary.
Totally.
She always sees a little, I think I get it from her because she always sees outside the box and she doesn't want things to be, like your typical thing, which is what I'm always trying to do. And she brought you in. So because in these events, it tends to be very corporate and people are sitting for a long time and they talk about things that interest some people and other people not, so they can get bored. So you came in and you lit the place on fire. The energy was up and amazing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This woman is amazing. And that's when, I said, I want everybody to meet you and I want everyone to understand what you do, because a lot of people ask me, I want to move. My slogan in DOTE is for bodies in motion. And I am always telling people, move in whatever way feels right for you. And that's what you do. I know you were telling me before, it's hard for you to explain because it's just moving intuitively, moving at the right rhythm. But I want people to know you, so tell us. Your company is called Creative Movement.
Yes, Creative Movement Method. It started about 6 years ago now, or we're going on the 6th year. It started with a personal practice of, I was coming from a corporate fitness background. A lot of things, we were talking about different stages and when CrossFit was crazy. And so I worked for a corporate boutique cycling studio. You may have heard of it, Flywheel.
Yeah.
And it was amazing, but there was a competitive level to that, right? You were trying to get in the 300 club. You were, on the torque board. You were racing other people. We would have these challenges, and the fitness industry kind of took that turn, right? It was a lot of HIIT, high intensity interval training, a lot of boot camps, and a lot of results. And that's a beautiful thing. But for me, there was a moment that I wanted to just be like, why are we doing what we're doing? And to know that celebration of movement versus a punishment of what we ate.
Exactly.
Or what we did over the weekend, or we have to because we have to for whatever reason we have in our mind. And so I just wanted to take a moment. I come from a dance and exercise science background in college. You
studied?
Yeah, so I studied dance and then switched to exercise science. I originally wanted to be a physical therapist for dancers. So the body and the way it moves, kinesiology, all those things have always interested me. And so I wanted to slow down, and I had always had yoga practice. Pilates and yoga was always involved throughout the years in college and things. And I got my yoga certification, and through that I did it through a mentorship, which meant it was great because I had a lot of one-on-one, but I didn't have the connection of peers and bouncing off ideas. So I would have to send in my sequencing or my homework for her. And I found myself, for as many years as I was already teaching movement, I was such in my head. It was like getting a massage and not being able to relax 45 minutes of your hour,
Like me this morning.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh, what can I do? And I made 20-minute playlists, and I would dance in my living room. No one's watching, get weird, get loose, make funny faces, shake it out, scream a little bit. And then I would do my flow, and it was a whole new practice. It was everything flowed, and that's always been a theme for me. The path of least resistance, things flow in, ideas, all the stuff. So that's the long answer to that to get there. There's a lot of inspiration around using movement somatically. So what's the difference between movement and somatic movement? It's just kind of a term to represent when you're taking a modality movement and you make it somatic, it means that you're making it a healing or a therapeutic tool.
Okay.
So there's something to be said about when we're doing from a physical standpoint, when you're doing like, let's say jumping around, right? You could do like jumping jacks, or you're just jumping around, you're kind of bouncing, you're kind of flailing. From a physical standpoint, you're waking up your lymphatic system, right? So there's a little bit of a flush and the blood starts going and the heart starts pumping and those things. When we start to use some of those movements and we repeat them over and over, so it's not choreography per se, it's more of taking certain movements and repeating them until there's this part where we're not thinking about the movement and we're going with the feeling, and then the feeling starts to become, the repetition starts to become the release. Okay. So let's say it's something like you're picking something up and then you're dropping it off, right? Or you're making big rainbow shapes, right? Or maybe you're whipping up your magic. But yeah, there's this part that starts to become releasing in less judgment, less thought about what it looks like. And it's like, we're in a feeling practice, we're in an energetic practice.
So I know you said it was hard for you to describe.
Yeah.
But what does one of your classes look like?
Look like or feel like?
Look like to the eye outside when they're watching, if there was someone were to be standing outside, but also how they feel when they're in there.
If someone was looking outside, they would be like, can I say that? Shit's going crazy in there. People are getting loose and wild. There's some noise being happening, but it looks like people are having a great time. And I think that that's the enticement part. If somebody were to just like walk by or happen to notice and they're, you know, everybody looks like they're having a great time. Taking the class, what it feels like, if I were to articulate it the best I can, is radical liberation. And
so you start with yoga, or there's no sequence.
No, there's an outline.
There's an outline.
There's a container.
Okay.
Within the container, I like to lead, and you can speak to this so well, is like you're a curator, right? Coming from interior design, you curate your space, you know, you curate your home. This is like curating the internal home, right? So curating a journey for people or an experience is that we start with breath work.
Okay.
Again, the connection of breath starts to get you into so first we're getting out of fight, flight, or freeze, and we're coming into parasympathetic, so rest and ease. We're stimulating, so we are starting to turn up. The idea is that we're going to go from like yang to yin. So we're going to start slow, build up, peak, and then bring it back down slowly again.
Okay.
So we'll start with breath work. We'll prime, as you and I just did.
I did for the first time.
So we'll prime, and then we start the journey of the dance. And the dance is about clearing to create. Okay. It's about the different, the part that you go from asking and receiving is aligning. And so we're using the dance as an opportunity to align with ourself, our inner being, our higher consciousness, our higher power, right? Innovator, creator, source, universe, God, whatever fill in the blank is for you, but that we're using this within ourselves. It's kind of like that saying, a rising tide lifts all ships. Mm-hmm. So when we focus on our energy and our vibration and our frequency in that co-creative space, as we lift our own vibration, we're raising the collective. Yeah. So we're using dance and movement as a tool, as a voice, as a way to get, whether it be limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, inner critic, judgment. As much as I'd like to say that it's easy to just say, all right, think positively. Yeah. And that it's like, hey, allow yourself to be playful, be like a kid again, you know, and you use your imagination. You have the power to think about anything you want at any given time. But the truth of the matter is, as much as we are the creator of our own reality, our current reality as a whole and in modern reality is it's very demanding.
Yeah, it's very demanding.
And
it's
so,
getting more demanding as...
So how are we filling up our cup so that we can pour into those that we love and the things that we love?
How do you feel that you get, because as you talk, I think it would be very hard for me to go to that class. Because it's very hard for me to move like that. You know, like even Zumba, and my mom was always going to Zumba, and it was hard for me because call it ego, I'm shy, or whatever it is. So how do you feel like you get people to go? That's why I want people to understand, because it's really hard for most people to move like that, or to say, I'm gonna go to a class and start moving in a way. So how would you say, how do you get people there, and who are the people that are going? People that understand?
I get people there by reiterating parts of non-judgment. Reiterating that if you're looking around the room and you're not feeling inspired, but you're starting to, you know, go into the place of negative self-talk or limiting beliefs, or I'm not, to your point, I'm shy, I don't dance. Close your eyes, get quiet. It's really important that everyone knows that we're not here to, and we start the class always before we do even the breath work. You turn to someone you don't know and you welcome the space.
Okay.
So there's an offering and a welcoming, and that's exactly that. This is an invitation, an offering, an opportunity, and maybe it might take you 10 classes to feel as liberated as you think that some of these people are that you see in class. But it's the practice of allowing yourself to go there. Giving yourself permission to, number one, be a human being versus a human doing. There is no expectation of you to produce anything in this class, or an expectation of how much effort or how much energy you put into it. I tell people at their first time, and I say, if you feel like you need to take a nap halfway through, you have full permission. There used to be a guy who used to take my class, and he was like a total, as my husband says, a total unit. Like he was 6'7", and like, I don't even know how much he weighed, but he was just massive. And he would wear these rainbow unicorn tights. And we would start class, and we do, you know, like I said, there's movements that, right? So he would do some of them, but then he would just like kind of start twirling, and like but he was having a great time, and people were like, this guy's like enjoying himself so much. Like, he's so liberated, it liberated us, right? You see somebody so happy, you're gonna be upset, like, you know, like it's infectious. And so... Are they choreographed? They're not choreographed, like it's not like 5, 6, 7, 8. There's some signature moves, and maybe we can show for everybody some signature moves that
get out of my comfort zone and start dancing.
Like you can start doing it tomorrow morning. You call me, you let me know how it goes, do your own mini creative movement, and let me know how you feel going into your day. But yeah, like he would do the dance part, and then we would get to the yoga, and he would do a couple deep breaths, and the next thing you know, he's like in Shavasana, and we're like still, there's probably like a good 15, 20 minutes left.
Oh my God.
And he would take a nap, almost snoring. And it was like, this guy,
he's really at peace.
Well, he nails it. You know what I mean? He understands what this is all about. I had a girlfriend who loves class, and she came up to me after class, and she's like, is it okay that I just like really love deep squats and like the workout? And I'm like, no, that's great, you know? And then there's some that come and they're like, this is life-changing, and they're crying, and they're like,
it's almost more like therapy, I would say. Take a little
It's whatever you want to make it, right? If you want to call it a dance yoga class that you get your sweat on and you have a good time, and you bring your girlfriend and you go get a juice afterwards, and you took, you know, 75 minutes on a Saturday to just like do something fun and connect, that's amazing. And you know, if it's therapy for you, and it's like, so I know, speaking of where we are, I know some girls that drive, you know, every Wednesday, they like block it out like an appointment, and that's their thing.
Where's the studio?
Right now, the home of the class is at Moto Yoga in Miami Beach in Sunset Harbor, every Wednesday and Saturday at 10 a.m.
Okay.
And so, yeah, we breathe, we dance, we let loose, we celebrate. Like I said, this is really a celebration practice. And as we were talking before about like birthdays and weddings and bat mitzvahs, it's like we don't need to wait till we've like checked the box.
That is very true.
In order to be like, oh, I have permission to dance, you know, or like wait till you're gonna like go. I mean, I don't even know anybody who goes to clubs.
Exactly.
I don't know anybody
really
who's up
funny you
past
say
like that hour.
I was saying, you know, I always wait till the weekend. It's always till Friday. And then on Friday, I'm like, okay, I want to go out, I want to drink, and then if it doesn't happen, I'm like, but then it's not till next Friday.
Yeah.
And it's true. It's like you can do it during the week and you can do it.
I loved that expression of like when we're like, for instance, like you buy these really nice plates and you're like, they're only for special occasions. Well, it's great if you actually, you know, like you're giving them a meaning of being like, this is a special occasion and we bring them out and it's that. But if they really just sit there and you never use them, what are you waiting for, you know? Like it's that part of, the more that I celebrate, the better I am at navigating. Like the more I'm celebrating, the better I'm navigating my life. You know, my husband and I, we were supposed to get married in May of 2020. COVID happened. We ended up getting married in June, and it's like, you know, I have like my engagement anniversary, then we're like, we have our wedding, our, you know, our first wedding anniversary, that was like our dating anniversary, then we have our wedding anniversary. I'm like, anything. You got something, you just had like a great day, like we can go, let's go, like because it's Friday and it feels good. Like we don't need to wait.
I know. Well, my husband and I are very much like that. Like we're always trying to, and I think that some, you know, other moms or think probably we're crazy because we're always like, let's do something, let's celebrate. If someone invites me, I'm like, let's go. My friends are like, let's go travel from, let's go, because why not? Why not celebrate? But what I think is interesting is that, and I'm guilty of it, is when you start having kids, when life starts getting, you have to really bring yourself back to that. And it's happened to me where I say to myself, I need to find the joy again. Life can't be this hamster wheel where you're going. So having a place like that is amazing. Because you can really just let go. Without drinking, without anything.
And I would like to hope that the class has a very complete feel. So imagine, you know, experience, and then you leave and it's like you feel peaceful, but right? You feel aligned, and with that meaning that whatever next decision you make is the best decision for you. So you're like, let's go get a juice and go to the beach and lay and like have a day, great. And then you're like, I want to, you know, today's the day I clean out my closet. You're like, awesome, you know? Really a lot about, and we had this before we started the interview, but just non-judgment of self, you know, and when you feel aligned, when you feel connected to something bigger than you, when you start to give yourself permission to put the things that are too heavy for your own heart and mind up to something larger, and then the things that are in your control, that you are present, you know, like it is a gift. And it's funny because I've been into this world for so long, but I've always been so afraid to talk about it because of judgment. And thinking, oh, someone's gonna draw, I'm into astrology, and people are like, oh, that's not true, or you're, you know, and that's part of why I'm doing this as well, because yesterday I interviewed a theta healer. Most people, it's amazing. I mean, most people don't know, they haven't experienced it, and once you do, you say, wow. And there's so many people suffering, and so many people that don't have an outlet to express themselves or to feel good. And I actually also yesterday was talking to a friend about some things, and she said, no, because I don't want other people there. I go, you know what? I've learned, if you're in that space, no matter what it is, whether it's your dance studio, whether it's a theta healer, whether it's a meditation, a sound bowl, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, everyone's there to get better. Everyone's there to, you know, so no one's gonna
judge you. I mean, we were talking about ayahuasca, and I was like,
Right.
you know, it's like that, and you're thinking,
Yeah.
well, if everyone's there and you do something crazy, I mean, that's everyone. That's the energy, right? There's an energy of protection, I'm sure, in your space where people feel so protected, and then you start aligning with people like you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, there's so many. What's really beautiful is that there's so many, more than I can even count, of how many friendships, really tight, you know, like when we're at a place at our lives now where we're like no new friends for a lot of our own reasons of like the capacity and like, you know, like a dating situation, it's like, okay, we're going to pitch ourselves again, and but having that container creates a level of intimacy in there and trust to know that you're coming at it with like such a radical authenticity, to allow yourself, like that's a very vulnerable place. And when we're having vulnerability, one of my favorite like kind of stepping stones is like vulnerability is courage, and courage is growth, and growth is fulfillment. So we're like going beyond happiness here. Happy is a choice, but like to feel fulfilled, that is like the ultimate, right? And part of that, coming back to the non-judgment, was really a lesson for me, for myself, which was not always just learning, but also unlearning. And is that the disattachment or unattachment to the outcome or the process, and attaching myself more to the intention. And when I started doing that, then you're open that things can go in a totally different direction, as it's been showing me in my life for many years, but particularly even in this last year, even for COVID, right? You take something, you had all these plans, and then what is in your control, and how do we navigate that when we feel like we don't have control?
Have you always been in this world? I
want to say yes. I want to say yes. My mom, I had some issues with my health when I was a child that, to your point about this medication, and my mom was on medication a lot during her childhood and did not want me to do like Western medicine and that, so she studied homeopathy. I was going to a homeopathic doctor at the time, which is actually only here in Miami, and we were in Wellington and driving multiple times a week to go see him. And yeah, I think the alternative, the holistic, you know, there's always another way. I'm always like, there's got to be another way, you know? Like,
it's funny because I had to do that digging myself, because I was like the complete opposite in my life. So that's why I was mentioning that. For me, it was very, almost like a taboo, because I was always the one digging, and I know there's more.
Yeah.
People shouldn't have to feel like this, or even I see all my friends with stomach aches or all these problems, and I'm like, you don't need to go to the doctor and take a pill. Have you ever looked inside and wondered what could be causing this?
Your gut is your second brain.
Your second brain.
And there's so many layers, right? And I love I think it's, we've heard maybe the 2 millimeter shift, or like something is always, when we shift a word, like a couple letters, right? And it's just like, what does that feel like in your body when you take tension and you turn it to tenacity, or resistance, resilience, obstacle, opportunity? And when you're talking about like your gut and your second brain, and you're like, I don't feel good after, like I want to take a nap after I eat.
No.
You don't always have to feel so bad for it to be a sign that's already saying like, food is fuel.
Exactly.
And energy. And you're like, I just ate that meal and now I want to take a nap.
Or now my stomach hurts, or I'm bloated.
Yeah,
oh my God.
whatever. And you're like, it's not, listen, life is complex. A lot of these things are very complex, but they're not complicated. Yeah. I think we tend to be like, again, saturation of information, and who do I trust, and it's like Abraham Hicks. Do you know who that? Yeah. Okay, so I'm a huge fan. Her voice has been someone for me for a few years now, and she has this moment where she says, the details of your life experience are irrelevant to the opportunity to have a peaceful, creative, expansive, loving, vibrant, fill in the blank. And so, again, the non-judgment goes back to the class is an energetic practice.
Yes.
We are energies and frequencies, so when we take away our age and our gender and our race and our current circumstances and logistics, we're dealing with frequency.
Yeah.
Honestly, I look at my dog and I'm like, I should be more like you. You're not looking at anybody basing them off if they look good today or not, you know what I mean? It's like he is the epitome of an emotional animal. He's an emotional animal that's like, he reads energy. He's not trying to say hi to everybody.
Exactly.
I don't know. Some dogs are like that.
Mine is a little bit of a mess.
Mine is very independent and like a little too much.
No, mine, he just wants love, and he goes up to anyone. I'm like,
Yeah.
you need to bark at some people, not at some people. Okay, I need some protection in the house. The police came because I don't know, the music was going on, and he was just really,
Yeah.
so funny.
And yeah, so it's like, I just, when we think about, like, just strip it down.
Yeah.
Get quiet, get back to basics. Like even before, let's say I didn't know as much as I did about gut health and health and wellness in that space, I honestly think that if my stomach was hurting, it was like one of those things that's like, what would a baby eat? So I hope you edit this out because it's not important in the interview, but I'm like, it's like mashed up, like what's easy on the digestion.
No,
you can't give a baby like a steak dinner.
It's true. I know, it's true. I feel like a lot of, and I've been working on it more and more and more and more, is living intuitively and really just listening. Like you said, what does your body need? What do I need today? Do I want to do that HIIT workout? Do I need to dance? What do I need to do today to feel good? Not, like you said, to punish it. I think that's a very, very important topic because I see it so much, and I'm guilty of it. I think we've all been there, where it's like, I need to work out. I need to work out because I need muscles, or I need to burn this. Even once I was like, why don't I burn 750 calories in this class? I'm like, well, who really cares? I felt good when I came out.
Yeah.
It made me feel good, or maybe it didn't. But learn what you need and what makes you happy, and then the rest will come. It's like when people say, I'm trying to find who I am in my job. Do what you love and it comes.
Yeah, when you're aligned, the opinions of others is irrelevant by comparison.
And even your own inner judgment, because I think that's the biggest.
Yeah.
People really judge themselves.
I did that all last year. I had a lot of things that I wanted to do, and I had it's like sometimes we're like, I make things happen, And I think it's like I make magic happen. We make magic happen, but we don't force things to happen.
Exactly.
And I read those signs more and more, like, we're out of this today, and that was like all I came to for. And I'm like, all right, well, guess I'm not meant to have that right now.
Exactly. That's how.
Okay, learning to pivot and adapt and
or you have all these ideas and you say it's okay. I let them out to the universe, and when it's meant to be, it will be, and I'll work towards them. But they need to happen now. And
I mean, even with my business, to the point of the beautiful opportunity that I get to share this with you and with you all, is that in that same token is like, how am I sharing it, and how many people are seeing it, and how many followers do I have, and are we doing enough, and is it enough, and is it enough, and is it enough, and when is it enough? And what it is that's the part that's the most important to me, is how I'm showing up, how you make people feel.
Exactly.
There's a quote I have to share with you, and I think it's just really landed for me. It says, your purpose is not the thing you do, it's the thing that happens in others when you do what you do.
That quote's amazing.
It's not what you do, it's the thing that happens in others when you do what you do.
That's crazy.
And like Martha Graham is a famous dancer, choreographer. She talks about the channel. Whatever your voice is, or your modality, or your discipline, or the thing that you do that you love, it's about keeping the channel open. It's not for others to tell you whether or not it's good or bad or enough or whatnot, You're doing it from a point of knowing that this is coming from the intention of wanting to be in your highest good and your highest self, and being a catalyst for others to do the same.
Exactly. And that's why like I mentioned, the body's in motion. just do what makes you happy. But move your body. Whether it's strolling your baby, whether it's, no one's going to tell you, all the Instagrammers and all the influencers.
The body always knows.
The body knows. And
the body knows.
I've had this conversation with a friend and she's like, no, because I need to do cardio because that burns. And then I need to do weights. And I'm like, what do you like to do? Do that.
And you know that there's, like we talked about, energy, and your thoughts are registering in your body on a cellular level.
Yeah.
There's a question sometimes, I don't know if you ever saw that, where they're asked if you could go try one hour without complaining. And I don't like when things are don't do something.
Right.
Even if I were to teach something, I wouldn't tell you what not to do. It's or with your children, don't go, you know what I mean? It's, what do you want to happen? Or your dog, it's you keep reiterating what the positive action is, and that starts to register. Because whether we say don't look at the pink elephant, and you're just I just want to look at the pink elephant, you know what I mean? So it's I took that as saying, okay, no complaints for an hour, but no, how about we say only
good energy,
only compliments. And see if you could do an hour, and then maybe an hour becomes 2 hours. Yeah, and then it becomes half a day, and then a day, and then maybe a week, and just see what happens. But I promise that it's if you just tried in that way, and with that being said, is the part of, I gotta do this because this is gonna burn more, and the energy, you have a birthday cake, or you have cake and you're celebrating someone, and it's or maybe it's the wedding cake, right? Did you have the energy on the wedding cake that you were this bite's gonna put, you know what I mean?
They're probably I didn't eat a whole
It matters.
It does.
You're going in, you're this is so bad for me. And you're you know what? It's going to fit differently. It's going to feel different in your body. 100%. Your body will digest. I mean, there's times where I'm I don't know why I don't feel bad. And I had cheese, and I had dairy and gluten and sugar and all the things. And I was but I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was enjoying myself.
I am so happy you're with us, and I'm so happy.
I'm so grateful for this time. Thank you for being here.
I know.
For bringing me here.
Yes, and I can't wait for everybody to experience it. We want to bring you to this side of town. We're going to do something for sure.
Big things are happening.
Yes, I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
For everything that's happening. And we're going to do, I'm sure we'll do some events and some things so that people get to know you and can experience the energy and the amazingness that you
connection with ourselves and with each other and this community, that's really, it's so important. It's the thing that gives us, talking about longevity, it's the thing that drives us the long distance, the connection with ourselves and each other.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I opened Doe, they said, well, we'll bring from LA and we'll bring from, and I'm we got some fabulous people in Miami that we need to show. Yeah. So that's why I want everyone to experience your amazing energy and
thank you.
And what you do.
You know what we're gonna do, because this is a good thing. We're gonna do what's called priming. You ever do priming breath?
No.
Okay, this is great.
Okay, let's do it. Okay.
And then open your eyes when you're ready.